Howdy YouTubers, this is a Noble Knight deck profile video. Now, I'm sure you've probably seen many like it before, but I'm going to do one anyway because I run a post-prio version that's a synchro variant. It runs the main components of the deck, obviously your captain over there, Madrot, your consistency knight, boars to grab your noble arms from the deck. Two go in because, if you can't get those noble arms plays off and turn your monsters from normal to dark and to level 5, then obviously this guy gives you your access to your rank 4s quite easily. And because it can be recycled with Gualchavad, it means that you're never going to be out of rank 4s really, and because it can be recycled with table as well, but I'll go into that in a bit. Anyway, you've got Master Drythan, obviously pops cards on the field, which includes popping cards on your own side of the field, mainly obviously your noble arms if you want them equipped for something else or to use this effect again, for example just to gain a K per turn from Caliburn, or gain an extra pop from Alpha Date Tree, and stuff like that. So I'm going to go through the unconventionals that I play. Some people may question this guy. I play Lorsadel because once it's in the grave, he makes any of the ones that are classed as normal on the field. When you don't have any noble arms, he makes them, gives you an actual option to make a play once in the graveyard. So I ditch him with table right after I ditch this guy. I run Eshtar, obviously because I run things where I'm putting my monsters in the graveyard, as I'll go into in a bit, apart from table. You can banish 2 to special summon him, and then he's also a target for these two that I'll be putting into the graveyard as well, Lady of the Lake, because they are both special summonable from the graveyard, and so is she. Once they've been milled into the graveyard, it's like a free Ignoble of High Lorsadil. So, you can't say fairer than that. Lorsadil is one of the most important cards that was ever released for the Noble Knight series. These two, when drew into, can be dead in hand, but they can be summoned out either by table, because it doesn't have any specific requirements for the Noble Knights that you can special summon from your hand, and nor does this guy. Brothers has no requirement or any sort of condition of the Noble Knights that you can summon from your hand, so you can summon straight both of those late game if you seem to draw into them, if you haven't gone through the table thing yet. So obviously if you've got your Noble Arms in your graveyard, that's straight into your Sacred Artorgius, or your say Volcasaurus for example, or Tyrus. Excuse me. Obviously there's your Gualfahad that I was talking about before, recycling your Gawains and popping one of your face-up Noble Arms after its effect, much like Madrot does, which means that if you use Madrot to summon Dristan and obviously pop your Noble Arms, and your Noble Arms are equipped to Dristan, which pops a card in the field, or with Gualfahad, grab a Madrot back, or any of them for that matter, and pop a Noble Arms, and if your other monster on the field is Drythan, then it's going to equip Drythan and pop a card on their side of the field. Or, like I say, just pop again a Caliburn, just purposely for the point of gaining an extra 500 or an Alpha Date Tree. So far, we've got these monsters, and we've got these 4 which trigger Engrave, which make the deck, very, very consistent, in my opinion. Especially, as like I said before, you can get the free Synchro if you mill them into the grave. I don't run Foolish Burial yet, but as a replacement, I run these 2, Curry Bandits, and literally, I can't think of why anyone wouldn't run these in the deck. These, you're setting up your graveyard by putting your Gwenethar in the grave, your Lady of the Lake, and your Eshtar and your Ignoble. Any other ones you want to add back as well later on with table, you can just plop them all in the graveyard. And with Brothers in there as well, when you can finally add that back to your hand, it means you can start doing your recycling thing, give the deck a scrap-like quality. Now, here's a card that many people question in this deck, A lot of people say this deck's a lot more dark based than it should be, and that isn't really the case, especially now, because obviously with the synchro being one of the overlay units for your main level 5 guy that you want to have out, or like more than anything else, you definitely want him out, or you want the level 4 out either way, or half, because considering the extra deck is literally, I think, let's say over 2/3 light type. I run honest. Now, like I say, people think that's questionable. I, however, think it's unquestionable. The ability to overlay into your main Artorias guys now is a lot more consistent, and with them both being light, why the hell wouldn't you run honest, you know? Um, so, yeah, that's basically the monsters. Obviously, like I said, it's mainly more for the synchro variant now. The good thing about these lot as well, obviously, brothers can actually put your XYZs and stuff back into the extra deck. Although, because I think it's a condition, I'm